This is a while back, a few years ago, but he's very meticulous and he's a perfectionist. So next time I see him, I'll ask him.
Ask him if he's whatever, and then,
Work like that.
and if you have an old phone book, my name is in the phone book.
Yeah.
That's what I do everything, you know.
Right.
So just on my.
Well, and
phone
then
or
I'll
whatever.
just give him the
Oh,
number.
yeah, give him the number or whatever. And
Yeah.
say, but that's what I'm looking for,
Okay.
and I'm lucky I had the septic system, because I got the person that did Mrs. Besaw's.
Oh, okay.
And then they did me, and then they also did Oaks.
Oh, okay, good.
So,
Yeah.
and they're licensed from
Yeah.
Susanville.
Yeah. And you know, you really want to get a license.
Yeah, I prefer licensed, but
Yeah.
if not, I take somebody,
Yeah.
you know.
If I weren't getting a new roof and a new bathroom, I'd send Carl your way, but
He's busy.
my
to
luck, he'd go to your house and I wouldn't get.
get your work done. Well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, to get the wood to be replaced on the cellar door.
Yeah.
And then shingles put over it or something to put over it.
Right.
And then also on my, that little porch, it's a little
Maybe
walk.
Eric would know somebody
That
about
would
a
do-
porch that would do. you
That
know,
would be like, some repair work that I can't get anybody. I've called people, I've looked up in the phone book.
Really? You know who I called? Leon.
Oh, yeah, see, we already.
I've looked in the phone book and I just started going through names in the phone book.
Oh, you didn't ask Leon?
Well, no, I didn't, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking, I didn't know that what he does. So the only thing that I know.
Leon is a master of all trades.
I know, but the
Pretty
problem
flipping
is,
awesome.
Aaron, he's so busy.
I know.
And I wouldn't, if it was my son, I wouldn't want to put that on him.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
But here's the deal, like I said,
He also loves it.
he knows parents when him was just a little freshman in high school.
Exactly.
Yeah, we understand
So
that.
if
We
it's,
understand.
you know, if they're willing or whatever like
Yeah.
that, and,
The next time I see John, I'll ask.
yeah.
Yeah, he's really
And I said, oh, maybe somebody at water board knows of
Or even-
somebody
Well,
or.
Jim Lux also helps out a lot.
Yeah, he helps Leon all the time.
Yes.
Oh,
Or,
Jimmy?
or you could even go to, Sam, the slumlord, and use some of his people.
Oh, right there when you said the slumlord?
I just.
No, but you know what?
No, but his people are good.
Let me tell you, I was gonna say, that guy that Sam has working for him, that young guy that rides on that bicycle all the time, that guy is,
You're talking about Shirley.
yeah, him.
Yeah.
He's talented. I've seen his work.
Shirley's, son.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said he's working in Max Ortega's house that's right across from me that was all burnt and messed up and looking. You should see the way that looks out from the outside now. It doesn't look like the same house.
And see, I had it done. I had cinder blocks in the back, and then I got the base to do the cement. I said, oh, cement will be better. Well, the cement broke down in, it's crumbling in like, probably, I'm gonna say it's got maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
cinder blocks were around forever, and I don't know why I took them out and wanted a more permanent
Yeah.
walkout or whatever.
Well, he can advise you, because one of his friends is, matter of fact, the guy has an advertisement out there at the mart.
Yes,
The concrete guy.
Yeah.
What's his
I
name?
thought,
He's the one who did my sidewalk.
Yeah.
The one that, okay, curvy sidewalk.
I don't think of his.
He's in Milford or Janesville, and they do excellent work.
And where is his number? You said at the mark? or
It's
whatever?
posted,
Yeah.
see, in something or other concrete. It's out, it's posted on at the
And it
mark.
doesn't have to be concrete. That's what I told these
Yeah.
people. I said it could be cinder blocks with a mixture of this or this or this, you know?
Yeah.
Anything that's easy to do, that's gonna last.
He might be able to turn you on to someone else, or even even do that kind of stuff. who knows?
Yeah.
Cause he worked on the devil also.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they did a real good job.
Well, he was on that.
Mhm.
He's baby is.
Yeah.
So. It's him. They put him in.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that roof leaking like that. It was pouring like a sieve.
They put him
I
in.
walked into the bathroom. I'm like, you gotta be joking. The swamp cooler, I don't know what it is, cause I don't know.
An overflow or
I
something of the swamp pool.
was talking about some kind of float or something.
Yeah, there's a
Blah, blah,
float
blah.
in it.
I don't know what he was talking about, you do. And I was like, uh-huh, yeah, Really? The water's coming down fast.
What'd
you make it stop?
Yeah,
I have no clue. what to
that's
do.
probably the most common,
I mean, it's a bubble gum.
that's probably the most common thing is that float going out.
What does it do? I don't.
It's just, well, I do it like a water tank, so it shows a float. And so when it gets to a certain level, the water starts falling back up. So it's just the float. So without that float there, it just keeps, the water just keeps pouring out. But if the float's there, it'll keep it
They couldn't cut.
hot.
But they came and it's all low and.
Yeah.
Toilet, hear the water come in and
Yeah.
eventually turns off.
Right.
That's where I got the card from.
Slam it, flap shut.
Oh,
And then they.
That's the floaty thing.
Yesterday.
Okay.
No, she's there, but she doesn't live there. She doesn't live there.
Good.
She lives in Reno.
Where'd you grab that?
But she's selling.
Good
the house.
example.
So also go out there.
Yeah,
Read on how-
they're like $4 parts, but boy, they could make your life.
In my toilet, you have to hold it down. And hold the flusher thingy down, and then it'll go, and then sometimes it won't. Sometimes it'll go and it'll fill up the toilet with water. I'm like, so I gotta get the plunger out.
See, I know a young man that would probably put you in a new toilet. His name is Leon Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm his mama and I can't keep up with the young man. It's like, boy. Bring your power here.
I don't know.
And his baby boy is growing up to be just like him. He helps grandma.
Yeah.
He likes to hold the lawn, food, weed, and empty stuff. Come in the house and see the garbage needs to be empty. He'll go over there and he'll empty it without even saying.
Because say he's a good kid,
Yeah.
really good kid.
You're 11, 10. Hope that don't change.
Where about?
The teenage stuff comes on. It's a different story, right?
So how you been doing, all right? Had it in there?
Story.
I don't know what. Felix is on vacation and Jim's not feeling well.
Yeah.
My wife.
Yeah.
That's a given.
Down there. It's hot. Oh.
He was hoping to be here today, but he's hoping to be back next month. So he should.
That big of a deal.
Well, y'all, I guess it's time for us to hop up and
Okay.
Start this
call the
meeting.
meeting to order. Stand for the flag of the please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Jim's book. Roll call. Mr. Harris
Here.
and Ms. Rita. Here. You are here. And we have, let the record show that we have two directors absent, which is Director Switzowitz and Director, Flores. All right. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Comments, questions, discussion?
No. I motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, motion by Ms. Reed to approve and seconded by Director Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, no noes, and 2 absent. Right. Moving down to public comment. We have one public comment. And that is from Miss Barbara Lee on the topic of fire tax liens.
My kid is science teacher taught me to do that.
You're welcome. Then I went off and forgot mine. So I want everybody to know that I'm here not as an employee of Herlong Public Utilities, but as a landowner.
and, member of the community. In a little while, you'll address the idea of the liens for the, which was tabled last, well, it wasn't tabled, it was discussion of it last week. So a little history is that, Measure A was voted in on August 28th of 2007. At the time, we were still West Patton Village Community Services District and Herlong Volunteer Fire Department. It was created, and I'm quoting from the 2007 ballot, to provide local fire protection and rapid emergency response services for the Herlong and West Patton Village areas, so that medical emergencies can receive rapid response care and to keep property insurance rates manageable, with all revenue staying in our community for local fire protection and emergency medical response services. In the argument in favor of Measure A, it goes on to explain that, and again I quote, after 60 years of providing fire protection and emergency medical services, the Sierra Army Depot will no longer be able to be the sole provider for critical services. Let's jump to 2022, when the board passed resolution 2021-02. I have included that resolution in the handout that I gave to each of you. The board agreed at that point to what was on the ballot, which I passed out to each of you. I'm here to tell you the importance of our volunteer fire department. When the fire insurance on our property was canceled, we went to look for another company. The agent asking about distance from a fire department. When I mentioned Syad's department, I was told that since it's on a federal institute or installation, they are not required to leave that installation. I then told them we have a volunteer fire department within 4 miles of our property. It lessened our insurance by over half. What the board will address this evening is Herlong PUD being able to place liens on property owners not paying the fire tax fee. My thought is that if there is no repercussion for not paying the tax, there will be people who simply will not pay. Your GM will has put together the amount that is outstanding at this time. It is quite a substantial amount. Some outstanding liens are connected to properties where the landowner has passed away. A lien against these properties is the only way that Herlong Public Utilities District will be able to collect the outstanding amounts owed. My question to the board is this: if owners were to begin to not paying this tax, how long would you have a volunteer fire department?
Okay, thank you very much, Barbara, for your input on this subject in the public comment section. As you know, we can't discuss this at this particular time because it is public comment. And I'm certain we will be discussing this in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none. We don't move on.
Oh, I do. I have a preference for you.
Okay, you must fill out a form.
Well, no, I'll wait till afterwards, after it's all over. I just want to say thank you very much for the street signs. They finally put them up. They finally
Thank you,
got it.
Teresa.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Item number 6, financials, review and file August 2024 financials and check registry. All right, any discussion? No discussion? Okay. Hearing no discussion from the board or the public? Aye. All right. We're just, let's review and file August 2024 financial and check register. So there is no action on that item. Correct? It doesn't say so.
Usually usually the board approves to review and file the
Okay.
August.
Correction made to the agenda, we are going to, review and file and take action on, the financials. If there's no discussion, I need a motion to approve the financials for our review and file August 2024 financials and check register.
I move that we accept the financials as written. With no correction.
I second that.
Okay, Mr. Harris moves to accept the financials, with no correction. And Ms. Yes, thank you. Ms. Reeves seconded, all in favor? Aye. 3 ayes, no noes, and 2 absent. Okay. Okay, we now down to item 7, review and possible action approving the minutes from August 27th, 2024, regular board meeting. Any discussion?
I did see 2 things that needed to be corrected.
Okay.
One is that, the, public hearing on liens, it says in the minutes that it passed, and it actually did not pass. So that needs to be corrected. And,
But at that night, we did, so this is the minutes, but tonight's minutes will reflect that it did not pass.
it's still, we don't want, I'm not gonna sign it if it has something that is not correct in it. Even though you said it passed and it didn't pass.
Well, I
then it needs
didn't,
to-
our board president said it did, and I'm not saying,
Oh, no, no, I heard you, I heard your words. Right, so it needs to say that it didn't pass, it really does. And then also in the director's updates where, I spoke and it has, number one, it has, 2 sentences of comments in regards to what I was saying. And one of those is an opinion by the attorney who was not even present. It is not a legal opinion, it is a personal opinion that was done on a phone call. It's the very last page.
I have no comment on any of that due to the fact that I was not at that meeting and I have to abstain.
Okay, well, the attorney wasn't present. So-
But that you're saying so, I mean, I wasn't at the meeting to know that.
so therefore, we can't even pass these minutes tonight because of what's gonna happen in the next in policy.
Well, we can
54.
still pass the minutes with the 2 corrections.
You cannot because you don't have a third member. You have to have 51%. This is the correction you
Oh,
made.
the abstaining, you're abstaining from the voting, that's the part I didn't hear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought you were abstaining from comments.
No,
Okay. All right,
all of that.
yep, you were right.
So we will bring them back at your next board meeting.
Everyone understands? Okay. Did you go? Item number 8. Tell the fire department's updates. Sandy?
So there was 8 calls in August, 7 medical and 1 commercial alarm at the high school. This was a false alarm. Lassen County Fire Chief and Fire Net Lassen meeting. CAL FIRE will be fully staffed through December, which this is, I believe, the second year that CAL FIRE will be fully staffed through December. Because of our high fire rates, a lot of foliage, a lot of things out there that could thing, and they will return fully staffed in January of 2025. The BLM, as it stays right now, it'll be fully staffed through October 8th. They're hoping to be there another 30 days, but as of the meeting, they had approval through October 8th, and then they'll be back in early spring. Both are concerned with the low moisture and the high fire damage danger for our region. CAL FIRE will be doing controlled burns this fall, and I believe they actually did one at the Fleming unit today. I believe that's why you probably saw the fire across the Honey Lake was at the Fleming unit. EOS Rojas was presenting to the Board of Supervisors, or will present at the Board of Supervisors on October 8th, a countywide outside burn ordinance and a resolution, which I believe will actually help because it'll be countywide. Right now, there is a CAL FIRE that is in effect, but it really doesn't give HPUD or the Herlong Volunteer Fire Department or Milford or Doyle any jurisdiction over burns. Thank you, Teresa. Where this will actually be countywide, and so you can, the sheriff would actually, if somebody's burning illegal, could actually ticket and would give our guys some backbone to be able to come and say, hey, you know, this is an ordinance, you cannot do this. If you don't put it out, we'll call the sheriffs and you will get ticketed. Which we've never had that before, so I think this is a good thing for the whole county. So it, you know, it's not just Herlong, it's Milford, it's Doyle, it's Janesville, it's you know, all of Lassie County. So November 16th, there will be a structure fire training in Susanville. There's a monthly medical tonight, which they're working on going over burns for burn patients tonight. So I was trying really hard to get everybody to participate in that tonight. On 9/11, Hunter Perez and Mike went to the 9/11 in Susanville. And so Hunter made all 311 steps with fully packed. Mike said he didn't make it all the way up there with there were several of them that didn't make it up with their full packs, but it was a lot of steps. It was the first year. I guess this happens in a lot of communities, but this first year that Lassen did it. So they're going to be doing it every year. But it was kind of exciting. So they got to participate in the 9/11 services. And then the board has asked for me to bring back a fitness policy. At the board meeting or at the chief's meeting the other night or the other afternoon, there was actually, I think 11 out of 13 of the volunteer fire departments were present. And none of them, except for Susanville, the city of Susanville, actually have a fitness test. None of them have a fitness test for volunteers. They are just grateful that they have volunteers. And if you've gone through the academy, like Chief and Swiss has said in the past, Chief White, you know, they figure that you've qualified. But the one thing that Susanville Fire Department does for their volunteers is they do this annual physical performance assessment, which, you know, I think at one time Chief White had talked about wearing your SCBAs in a pack and doing a lap around, a couple laps around the football field. So there still might be something that you guys could intertwine with just an annual test, because like you said, once they pass their test or taking their classes at the college, they have passed that. But this is just saying that annually they need to, you know, the candidates might be able to raise and lower 50 pounds, do a ladder climb, a hose drag, a victim rescue, and a carry evaluation. And so they get a pass or fail. and how much, and the time, and then they also check their blood pressure and their pulse rate before and after. So, that is in your binders to look at, if that is something you would like me to bring back next month for the board to vote on incorporating that into our policies and procedures, or if you want to make changes or adapt it to our needs. Just please let me know, email me, or bring in your changes, or let me know what we need to do before next board meeting. And then the other question I had just for you guys to think of was last, Mr. Kelsey had came in and talked about making it easier access for the barn gate, and I didn't know if the board wanted me to look at something other than our padlock at the barn to make it easier access. We do have a keypad at the door to get into the fire barn, but we just have a padlock, which honestly, we have tried really hard to just change like one number on that padlock, so it's easy access to get in. So the code, like the first three numbers, we always try to keep the same and maybe move the first one or the last number so that it is easy in an emergency to get in. But if there's, I mean, you could go as elaborate as what we've got out at the plant with the automatic gate and a gate opener to get in and out, but that's a little spendy. Or if we just wanted to look at a keypad, or if you guys wanted to leave it as is, but that's up to the board. If that's something you guys want me to investigate more. It just was brought up by the public, and I was wanting to know whether that was something the board felt that you would like me to do or not.
Is that for the gate, Sandy?
Yeah, the outside gate. Mr. Kelsey was concerned with it last month, and it is true. I mean, if you had a remote control or whatever, it would probably open faster, but we have been pretty good about keeping that padlock fairly easy for everybody to get in and out, and then it's just a key code on the door to get the truck out. So
The key to the padlock, what is that? Each person have one?
it's a combination.
Oh, combination.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's a 4-digit combination. So we try to keep 2 or 3 of those digits always the same. So you're just moving 1 digit in an emergency to the proper code to open the padlock. But again, just that's something the board would like me to look into, just direction from you folks. If not, and you don't have to let me know tonight, we can always think about that and bring it back.
Are they happy with what they've got?
It's what they're used to.
Yeah. And if it's a broke, should you try to fix it? I was just wondering.
I would kind of.
Yeah,
And get a baseline and see if it's going. If it's 30 seconds, maybe not. If it takes them 3.5 minutes, maybe.
right, I have to jump the fence.
Well,
Couldn't get out.
one of the only problems that I see, except for the remote control, is he was talking about a card, just being able to flash a card and it opens up. And one of the problems I see with that is people losing them. And usually at the type of departments that he's accustomed to, they have a lot of people there. So if somebody forgets it, it doesn't matter. Somebody else is there with it. That's not good.
Well, and I can tell you that Susanville right now is doing a card plus they're doing personal thumbs print, so it's easy for people to get in and out when there's an emergency.
That is expensive.
It's not as bad as you thought.
I couldn't do it in the DMV. My God, it would not work. And yet the lady came and she did hers and it worked perfect and mine would not work. So it was sad. I don't know what the heck was wrong with
You're an
me.
alien. You're an alien.
So,
Maybe.
I can tell you back in the day, I think the gate out the plant was close to 10 grand back in the day, and we paid for a new motor that was, I can't remember.
And I have a problem too with the expense of that, because we have kids that like to mess with things.
Oh, my God.
And that's another thing. So,
Well, and if it's snowing, you're still
Yeah.
gonna have to move. I mean, if you're already out, you're gonna open and close and get the
Right.
snow out.
yeah.
If it's a automatic gate, you're gonna have to. Or they can't, yeah, so. Just a thought, just making sure I'm covering my bases, cause it was brought up. So that's all, like I said, that's all I've got right now for the fire department. But just let me know what you think of the fitness test. That's the only, like I said, out of 13 fire departments, that's the only information that any of them had. Is what's in your packet, so.
Since we're talking about the fire department, I, yeah, it's in the wind, so to speak, without putting any people to it, that we have 2 active fire personnel, volunteer firefighters who are active, yet we have equipment and expensive, outfits out with other people who are not active with the fire department. I need to bring this up to the board that if we have personnel who are not going to the trainings, who are not going to the classes, who are not coming to any meetings, but yet they have all that expensive equipment at home, yeah, and they're quote unquote on the volunteer fire department. The thought is that the possession of that equipment should be brought back to the office until these people decide they really want to actually be a firefighter. I mean, it's just thrown up in the air by someone.
In our policies, it does say if they miss 3 consecutive staff meetings,
Mhm.
that they can be asked to either bring their stuff back or to requalify to be reaccepted as a volunteer. So, and I'm right at that, missing 3, and it's been 6 weeks since I've heard from them, period, so.
So Sandy, is that for you to notify these people, or is it for our acting fire chief? To notify these people that they either gotta play the game or give up the goods, so to speak.
Probably, I will make the first initiative. And then the chief or captain can follow up.
Don't call it the deal.
Well, and can we also, so. I think we should put on the agenda for the next fiscal, whether we vote yea or nay, but that we have the opportunity to vote so that we get it done.
Okay,
And then, but can we also put on there if, about the volunteers and the expectations and then what we allow them to do?
I can
Because
bring, you've got,
I'm kind of appalled that they're allowed to take the equipment home.
no, they've got the radios at home, their PPEs are in the garage.
In the garage of the fire department.
Yeah,
Oh, so their equipment's, it's just
See, I thought they had their PPEs at home. They have.
they
their-
should not have their PPEs.
No,
at
I'm just
home.
guessing, because I really don't.
And the
know.
new PPEs are in my office that we paid for them. I have not handed them out because they've not shown up. And until I had confidence that they were gonna be there, I didn't really feel confident in handing them $5,000 worth of
Yeah.
So
construction gear.
These expensive radios are in their possession.
They have the older ones. They don't have our new ones because we're still getting our newer ones coded. Already, so they have 2 of our older ones.
Yeah, but if they're not coming to the meetings, we shouldn't run out of that.
well, I mean, you first give them the chance. But we can also discuss that in the.
And I don't know if you guys remember, because we had this with a member, a few that didn't show up for 4 meetings and then came up and basically wanted to take over the fire department, so, anyway,
Anyways,
so it is in our policy though, in the volunteers policy that they miss 3 consecutive meetings that they can be asked to leave.
How often is it?
Huh?
How often?
Once a month, and I've actually sent that person.
No.
I've actually sent that person, that policy too.
Okay, so we have that in possession, they know.
Well, I would hope so,
It won't
or
be a
she has claimed
surprise.
that she hasn't gotten emails or my calls, so.
Do they have like ID cards and everything? too?
No.
No, okay, so there's no benefit to like flash an ID card someplace for like benefits or whatever.
No, Mike and Grover and Crystal, when we did cards, they, and I have those back, but Mike still has his.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah, but he does stuff.
Well, because he's a chief, right, so.
He's the captain. Yeah.
So discussion on that?
No, I mean, we're gonna add it to the next agenda and then add item for that, that's,
So,
we'll not have a discussion.
moving on to item number 9. Policy 5060 minutes of board meeting. Last board meeting, the representative asked to review and or add that the recordings of each meeting be kept for life. This is an item to review and possibly action of additional verbiage to the policy. Discussion.
I do think you need to keep it more than 30 days. Maybe if not for life, then use, Abrams type stuff with, like what the Army does with how long they keep stuff. And how some things go to like the National Archives and some things get kept for several years, like 7 years, 10 years. But way more than 30 days so that we have that record.
Question, Sandy, when our meetings are recorded as they are now, those recordings are kept for like 30 days?
They're kept until the minutes are approved.
Until the
So like
minutes
last month's meeting haven't been approved, so it'll be kept for at least 60 days until they're approved.
are- And we have a policy that states how long we're supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
it's
policy
right
right
there.
here that's there. So it says a minimum of 30 days, however, no recording will be deleted prior to the draft minutes before. So at one point in time, we did record the meetings and kept those recordings. I honestly don't know, because they were back in the taping days, how many of those are still you could listen to. But a board member at that, previously decided not to keep any of them. And the attorney at that point was saying, as long as, you have to keep minutes for the life of your district, so the minutes never go away. So we have to keep the minutes, the written minutes for the life. The district could invest in an iCloud account and put minutes in the iCloud. Or we could keep putting them on, in the past, the only time that we've kept minutes longer than after they were approved is if somebody else asked for a copy of them, and then those are in our safe, so that if some litigation came up, that the district would have a copy too.
And you're talking about a copy of the video, right? Not just the minutes right now?
Yes.
Okay.
So, so that was just a question, Mr. Flores and Miss Reed had talked about bringing them back to keeping them. And so I brought them, this is your policy currently. We revisited this policy in 2022. And this is the verbiage that was approved by the board and the attorney at that time. If there's different verbiage or different things that you want added or deleted to this, I can ask the attorney and bring it back next board meeting with his specs on how it needs to be written.
Oh, that sounds good. Erin, if you have verbiage that you like to have added, then you can get one to it. Good to me.
Yeah, we kind of have to vote though on that. I do think that, I would like to look up, in the military of how long they normally keep their video recordings of meetings that they have. And that we, use that as a template, but also a, like barometer of how long we're gonna be able to keep it. It's not exactly the right word, but, instead of just saying for a lifetime, because that really.
Well, no, you could say for 6 months or a year, or,
Right, and I wanted to.
or you could do an iCloud for the district, so the district could have access to it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is that I wanted to look at the military on how long they usually keep it.
I know for medical, for certain things, it was like 5 years. But that's medical, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, and like personnel files is 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
and some historical files can go up to 10 years, and then you have like the architecture, which is actually goes to the National Archives in DC. Even our ones here on the base are in DC. So I'm thinking probably 5 to 7 years.
Sandy, I would like to know what our new attorney would say on that.
Thank you.
It is,
Thank you,
Yeah.
Teresa. Yeah, because we're a special district. It's like, she's saying that you don't have to keep personnel files for 7 years. We have to keep personnel files for the life of the district as long as it's like our minutes. So, but I'll just tell him that we want to be able to keep what the minimum is to keep and ask him what his verbiage would be for the minimum to the maximum, or I mean, maximum of course is life, so. And have him add his 2 cents, and we'll bring it back next board meeting for you guys to accept it.
Put something in real quick.
Sure.
Just, not asking for an answer, just something to think about today. What is the purpose for holding on to these units? And the reason I would say that is because we've already addressed the agenda from last time. So whether you agree with it or not, the vote passed. So that should be on the minutes. Now, if you want to add a note in parentheses that says later shot the crap by the attorney or whatever you want to say, then that's a note that can go in there. But to delete the fact that it passed is adjusting the minutes. So a video is not going to make a difference anyways, because we're changing what happened in the meeting. The meeting happened. This is the meeting. This is the minutes of what happened in the meeting. So if it got changed the day after, it doesn't change what happened in the meeting. So just think about that when you're coming back to vote on it next time. If the reason to save the video is to keep an accurate view, we're already talking about adjusting the minutes to make it inaccurate in the first place. So just something to think about for next time when we get it done.
Well, actually, it didn't get adjusted yet. It didn't.
I know, but we were
John,
trying.
I let you finish talking. This isn't like when we're standing in the garage.
Come on.
But there is another way of making it the minutes more accurate without simply doing it the way that you're talking about. And also, the minutes, because of how they are written, give certain perspective because they are not written like an NCOER. They are not written as a statement, this is this, that is that, that is that. There are a lot of adjectives used to describe how things are, which should not be part of minutes, but I didn't even bring that up. And that is one of the reasons why that I want to have the minutes being kept in a film Zoom-like, because then you can go back and really see what it is that was said and how it was said, especially if something becomes legal.
Because of interpretation.
Interpretation and in case it becomes legal. That's why.
Okay, but the fact.
No, that's the end of that. That's point of order. Point,
The fact
of
that we
order.
tried to change it.
point.
Good, because once
Of
again, we
order.
don't have a quorum. Got it.
Yes, we do have a form.
Not that can pass that.
Oh, right.
Well, we're not gonna vote on that at all. Okay. Okay. Any more discussion on that one? Hearing none. Moving on to, number 10, policy 5040, board actions and decisions. Director Lee asks for the review of this policy. This policy is now being updated to include a 5-member board. This is an item to review and possible action of changing verbiage to this policy for a general counsel.
Yeah. So, this is the board policy that, I thought was inaccurate last month. So as for parliamentary procedures and for Robert Rules of Order and everything else, Director Switzer and I was correct on saying that there's 2/3 vote would pass any item, but because of the PUD Act in 1978, when only there was three members on a board, which our policy has always said, but I don't know if this board ever acted on that, is basically a 51%. So, I apologize to Miss Reed, and that she was correct that if there's only three members, all three of them have to vote the same, or the item dies or tabled or whatever. So unfortunately, last month on the liens, it was a 2-to-1 vote, which and all other boards would have passed, but because of the PUD code and the 51%, it did not pass. So that also is what we're saying about the minutes. So accurately, the minutes did report that it passed, because that night we thought it passed. We're finding out now later after the fact that it did not legally pass. And so going on to that, our new attorney has revised policy 5040, pretty much leaving in 5040.2.1.1, just changing it from one, or basically to a 5-member board, but still the 51% on it. And then he added some extra verbiage on 5040.2. And believe that's pretty much everything that he covered on added to that policy. So that policy is back for the board to review, possible action on the updating of this policy and the new education to our entire board and staff.
Any further discussion?
Thank God we're still in the same.
And the rest of you that don't have it in front of you, like when Director Johnson had stated earlier about the minutes that she abstained, it says an example of 3 of the 5 directors are present at a meeting, a quorum exists, and the business can be conducted. However, if one director abstains on a particular action, no action is taken because the majority of the board cannot vote in favor of the action.
So this item is to review and possible action of changing verbiage to this policy. And the discussion on changing or leaving it as is.
This is with the changes from the attorney. So if you guys agree with the changes from the attorney, need a approval or disapproval of his changes.
Well, after having read this, I'll move to approve based on the information we've got tonight.
I'd second that.
Yes. The Director Johnson moved to approve, Director Reed seconded, all in favor? Aye. We have 3 ayes, no noes, and 2 absent. Moving forward, old business. Consider annual liens on property for past due fire taxes. This item needs to be reconsidered and possible action approving the liens brought to the board in the hearing last month. It's been requested that we table this per board president, Mr. Switzer was due to the fact that, we are going to have 3 members again tonight and possibly run into the same situation as it was last month with 3 people. So I need your approval to table this until, our October meeting.
I wish I did that.
Okay.
Oh, good, okay. Motion to table by Ms. Reed, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, no noes, and 2 absent. Awesome. Okay, down to item number 12, Shaw Engineering Contract Update on Spruce Press Project. Sir.
So we've made some good headway on this group projects. Have now received 2 quotes from 2 separate manufacturers on the costs to purchase the equipment. One came in at I can say that. One came in at $462,000. Figured I heard the partial one first, and the other one came in at $65,000. So that does,
Excuse me, what is this for?
this is for the wastewater treatment plant. So we're doing upgrades to a failing piece of equipment. Without it, I believe we discussed it a couple meetings ago. The district currently. Exactly. Yeah. So, so we received those quotes. It doesn't include labor. So we'd still have to go out to bid to find contractors to install it. But that's where we're at. And I put together a demolition plan for the existing equipment as well as the floor plan for the which just finished up today. So I apologize for the report after
So the monies that you're telling us are about simply the equipment, and we're still waiting for cost of the installation bids.
Correct, yeah, so once I finish up with the plans here, I will be able to put together the accurate visuals on that.
We have to do the demolition in the same, and that.
I wouldn't expect it to be much because it's really just connecting a couple of pipes and moving the piece of equipment. It's up on stilts kind of a building right now, so just figuring that out. I'll talk about that actually.
I'm sure we can put the name of it, get some moss.
We're still becoming a thing.
That's right, don't touch this.
Then they will.
No, this is a lot of money. We can't do anything but.
And exactly what will happen if that piece fails, what happens?
Oh, no, we've already had it fail.
Big trouble.
But it's been repaired, right?
Yeah, there's almost no more parts for repairing it.
Well, what happens? I mean, does this, the sewage backs up and everything, or?
You don't want to be there.
So tell them the cost per day is.
So to, basically, if we couldn't find parts, which this time, there's a couple of wastewater plants, because our contract operator deals with like 52 other wastewater plants in Nevada. And there's a couple of these belt presses that are just setting as art in some of these wastewater yards. We were lucky enough to get the parts needed for this one, because they're not making them anymore, so it's pretty much obsolete. And if we had to, the reason we were trying to move forward, or the board had agreed with us moving forward with Owen to get this going, is I approximated between $300,000 and $500,000 for this project, and the board agreed with that moving forward. Not knowing what costs were going to be. But the thing is if that breaks down and we cannot press sludge, it could cost us anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 a month to
Clean it up, right?
get our sludge sucked out.
So how old is the system now that we're?
So the wastewater system is 20 years old, but unfortunately, we got this belt press from Boomtown 15 years ago, and it was about 15 years old when we got it.
So
So,
it's used.
yeah,
Also very fitting.
I'm sure. So do we have the monies for this project?
we do have the monies for this project, between that price range. But, you know, that's something that I want to address, later too, is putting together a budget, for next year. And so, when we start looking at bids and going out, maybe that's something that we need to look at in our reserves and how much that we're willing to spend for that. There's a lot of other things that we would like to, that was never built at the plant. And water and wastewater should always be redundancy. The water will really, you know, granted, we have an elevated tank, a ground tank, we've got 2 wells. We've got a booster pump station. We have our redundancy in the water side. The wastewater side, we have never been blessed with redundancy. We should have, you know, it was engineered, excuse me, don't throw darts. It was engineered to have 2 clarifiers and a possible digester. You know, we didn't even get the belt press until we started bringing on the community because we had drying beds before that. And as the prison grew, I mean, we would need the belt press now for the prison because they've, you know, started filling up. I mean, back in the day when they were 400 or 500 instead of thousands of inmates. And we feel, you know, right now, if they've been on lockdown for, I don't know how many months now, they've been short-staffed and different things going on at the prison. And I know we got a lot of, they were definitely locked down on 9/11 because there was a lot of SCADA calls on 9/11 with the overflows and things, so.
So the other question I have, Will, are the residents' fees go up?
Not because of this item. The board has authorized a rate study that SUSP has been putting together, and hopefully they will have something, a draft for the board to look at next board meeting.
And that is to raise the fees?
For the balance of what it's going to cost for the future of the district and to be able to move forward and have reserves so that when something like this breaks down, there's reserves to pay for it.
You know, it's not gonna go down. You know that.
It also-
Wait, I
it's-
think
it
I
also-
missed something that just got
Yeah,
said.
me too.
I apologize.
Me too. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sandy, what did you just get asked in regards to?
The fees going up?
Right, but before that, why did that come up about the fees coming up? What were you saying?
She was asking if the fees were going to go up because of this belt press, and I said no, because that was money we had in our reserves.
Oh, okay.
Right, so then
But then
you
she-
said,
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
then you did say something else
Uh-huh.
that later on, I guess the board or you guys are gonna.
The rate fee,
The
the
rate
rate fee
fee.
study,
The
the
rate
rate
fee
fee
study.
study.
Mhm.
And that rate fee study is not on Patton Village.
It is,
It's the
no, the
entire
board
system.
has asked for it to be on the whole thing because it has to go on what it costs per household to get there. And that was what you guys decided from day one. And that's how you can't, so what it costs, what it's gonna cost, what it cost us to get water from the well to your house, what it costs for us to get your wastewater to our plant. That is what a rate study is.
And we're talking about. I can't even talk.
Take your time, Ms. Johnson.
Sorry.
Future. Monies in the future to be ready for whatever happens in the future.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's where. my
Just
head
like it's
See-
going out with the water, you
Yeah.
know?
Well,
Fees have to go up because of that.
Yeah,
So West Patton Village was $75 forever. When we took them over in 2016, 2017, Pat actually lowered the rate down to $55. Then with this project in 2019, we had done a Prop 218 to raise it because that's what SRF had asked us to do. We did a rate study in '09 to find out what it cost to get the monies to deliver our services to each one of our customers. SIAD, the school district, Serco, everything uptown has never had a rate increase since 11. So, I mean, the plus with Serco is they paid for all of their own pipes in the ground on the wastewater side. But on the water side, they are paying a water debt, just like the school is, just like SIAD is. Everybody uptown here is paying a water debt that West Patton Village has never had to pay because they weren't part of the USDA loan grant that we did in 11 and 13. You know, Serco is really lucky because Serco pays the water debt. We receive about $2,900 a month in just on water debt for I call uptown just because it's anyhow, we're up the hill on this portion from here over. You know, we got customers, so their water rate may be only $20 facility charge, but they're paying $35.56 per household on debt. So you're really talking about a $55 a month that they've been paying since 11 and 13. So it is a big difference, but now we're looking also at the wastewater and wanting to be able to do stuff. And Serco again pays 100% of the wastewater for all of their tenants, which is $28.36, I believe, times 120. So they pay $3,000 a month, a little over $3,000 a month just for wastewater for each one of their tenants. But that $28 has not gone up, you know, which therefore that should be going up on the wastewater side and probably even on the water side for delivery because wages have gone up, electricity has gone up. Yeah, chemicals.
Replacement cost.
Yeah.
But so us retirees, our checks aren't going up. So,
Yeah, so
okay, so the fee, the service fees that you're charging us now comes up to, what was it, 86, 100 or something. So what exactly is that for? Is that for
That is
to help to, if something goes wrong with the system or no?
yes, I mean, that helps pay for the cost to deliver it to your house. And it also, you know, they wanted you to do the 1.5% of the median household income. So therefore was hoping we'd have some reserves. And honestly, I feel like that does give reserve money for them. And I can say, looking at this, that most of I don't really see West Patton Village going up for 2 or 3 years. But when you're looking at a rate study, you're looking at a 5, they suggest to do a 5-year rate study, and then every 5 years do a new Prop 218. So if honestly, a lot of districts were no different than most places in California who haven't done rate studies forever. But now they're suggesting to do them every 5 years. And so that you know that you are viable and can do that. So, but they suggest, so you don't have the big jump. I mean, hindsight's 2020. I would have, you know, looking, if I could have seen what happened now, you know, 5 years ago, I would have suggested in 2019 to do West Patton Village 1% each year to got you to that rate, slow increases instead of the big, you know, 100% jump in 1 year. And that's what they're saying now is to keep things going like a 10% increase or a 5% increase annually for 5 years and then relook at everything again. So it's baby steps. So basically, even if you did like you know, if you're doing a 10% or even like over there, you're talking $2 or $3. Well, $2 or $3 is not that noticeable. But if you turn around and said $30, it's gonna be noticeable. You know,
I would say that that's like you, so the prison is a huge water user, huge sewer user. We're under contract with them right now, so we can't quite change that yet. But what it does give us is the firepower to go back and say, this is what the great study said, this is what you guys should be paying. They're like, we haven't anything, probably what they should be. So it's, in a sense, that's one of the main components. That's why I wanted you guys to do it, study was to make sure the people who should be paying.
well, and the one thing that, you know, with the water there's been a 3% increase. The wastewater was a 3% increase, but unfortunately, wasn't until last year. So we went almost 7 years with a stalemate with the prison on the wastewater side. So now we have a 10-year contract with them with a 3% increase every year. So, you
Yeah,
know,
I don't think that it's the water, the use of the water that's hurting a lot of people. It's that service charge. It's killing a lot of people. It's just really, yeah.
And a lot of
because the
people
water
do their-
really is cheap.
it is cheap.
Yeah.
So a lot of, and if you look, I mean, if you have a chance to look around, ours is one of the cheaper water rates, but there's a lot of other districts who, well, in Susanville, they're just doing a rate study. They're actually increasing their rate in Susanville right now. And theirs was like $15 per 1,000 gallons.
Oh,
So
really?
theirs was a cheap,
Wow.
theirs was a cheap base. They had a cheaper base of like $40 or $50, but then if every 1,000 gallons was $15.
Boy, that's a lot of revenue because you think of all the people that are sitting there, they're paying that.
And their rate is
per
going up.
resident.
They just went through a rate study and they just did their Prop 218 with their community in Susanville.
Wow.
And
So-
that's one of the reasons that our rates are higher, is because we're a smaller community.
Yeah, I know. The larger the community, the more revenue you'll get and per resident, and so that it becomes one big lump sum, yeah. Because that's the problem. We just don't have enough people that live here, but
Well, even when we're looking at the rate study, they want to know for improvements. And I would love to say that we're gonna get, 100 homes right
oh
here,
gosh, that would be nice.
but
Yeah.
See, your alliance
20
says we are.
20 years later, I've talked to, the depot actually brought, we met up to Skedaddle and we had a whole housing development that was gonna be developed, but
I remember that.
yeah. So, all of that would help and benefit not just the water and sewer, but the school district.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
So. Anyway,
And just so you know, with doing this equipment thing without the increase in everything, we're gonna have to do something because we don't have enough money to in the bank right now to fully take care of that.
That 300 some thousand.
we do.
She said we got
Yeah, she says.
1.8 million, but she said.
I'm sorry, what? So when I was just looking at the financials,
There's $2 million in the bank.
there is $2 million in the bank, yes. Okay, so let me say it another way. When you look at all the expenses and then the money that we bring in, the extra money to do anything is only about $200,000 right now. So this is all other money where we have taken that extra and put it away to save it. Because what I'm trying to say is that the money that we bring in, I want to say like 80% of it is spent on expenses and maintenance that has to be done during the months that we're spending it. So there's only a 20% profit, which is not really a profit, it goes into savings. So I'm trying to say that this is not some big, we're not making like a bunch of money.
Right, but are you also saying that what she quoted, was that we've got the money, that she said that she would do, then we're okay with that? Okay.
Yes, yes,
See, I'm
It's
not
scary for
understanding,
me.
Aaron, what-
oh, that's because you're doing logic and emotion. So emotionally, I am scared with us paying out that much money, to be honest with you. But logically, we do technically have the money, but it's just like, it's just like when you have to all of a sudden out of your savings, go buy a brand new washer and dryer. You're like, what the?
Yeah, well,
So I'm just trying to say. that
right,
we-
right.
And that we are gonna do, I did not, so when you said about the consumer study, the rate fee study. Is that I knew they were rate fee studying everybody, but I thought you were saying that they were also planning with this rate fee study to see about raising up Patton Village, but that really is 2 to 3 years out. Is it, did I hear you correctly?
They're looking at the whole thing of what it costs. So that will be their bringing back to you guys to decide on what it costs per, they're gonna let us know what it costs per household.
Right,
And then it'll be up to you guys to decide whether you want to request a rate increase for both West Patton Village and the rest of it, or waiting months in, or where we're at.
okay, because I really thought our rate fee study was supposed to be focused on this north end or whatever you're calling it, yeah.
You have to do everybody, you
Right,
gotta
you
go for
gotta
each
do everybody,
household.
but I thought it was focused on raising their rates, that was what we. That was why we were doing it, because we had talked about raising their rates.
I guess you don't go into a rate study in anticipation of raising a specific party's rates. You know, it's all about constant stuff. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, but you wanna look at the system as a whole, so if you have Circle as. You know, I think in previous meetings, you mentioned that Circle. Share, that might be true, might be not, but that's the purpose of the rate study, right? Is that true? That's the question, is Circle.
We don't know that until this rate
So-
study's done.
Well, that's what the rate study will tell us. Maybe they come to that conclusion. If they don't, maybe they come to something in the middle where Circle's not paying that. It's not paying that. They're there to look at your expenses, the revenue, and determine, okay, 50 years from now, will you guys have enough money to replace every single pipe in the ground? Do you have enough money to recoat it? Replace pumps?
I did comprehend the reasoning for it. I just was being specific in regards to when I voted yes for it, I was under the impression that we did have a focus on Cyan and Circle. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Any further discussion for Owen before we sit down? You got to do
You know,
that.
he's in here, right?
Yeah. Hearing none. Mr.
I got one
Owen?
question. On your, what do you call it, the phone?
Screw press?
Screw prep. You know this new screw scrap? It's a new use.
Could be new.
So what's the life expectancy for its parts? You can get them, if it's brand new, like I said, 25.
Looking at 30 to 40 years.
Because if the used one was for 15 years, it would probably be double.
That's so 30, well, most lifespans are 30 to 40.
Yeah, and it's a commonly used piece of equipment. Others are probably there.
So it's very made, right?
That one I would have to look at. I believe one of them
Yeah,
is the more.
Right,
expensive
China.
one. However, I believe the cheaper one, some of the parts are made in China and I believe some of them are made in Germany. I'd have to do some more research to.
So part of this, and Sandy, correct me if I'm wrong, is that with this new press, it's a better system to where we won't have to have somebody underneath it for 8 hours a day
Right.
shoveling crap.
Basically.
So I mean, you're also, you're talking about a savings on labor there. You can put that person on something else too.
And less likelihood of a workers' comp claim or OSHA.
I I guess right now, I don't know, Royce has to sit on the belt press. Yeah, so he sits under there with the bucket, with his tractor bucket, and if he falls into the tractor bucket, then drive around, wafting into his dumpster, and so he does that for about 4 hours. twice a week.
We've been doing this for 20 years. No, this is why I've
Just
had,
saying it, just drive- yeah, okay.
well, what's really bad is even thinking of shoulder injuries because the fact that the way that it comes out, you're constantly, and I've done this, you're constantly taking your shovel and you're evening out your bucket because you want to get a full bucket before you go to dump it. So,
Not to mention.
so then when, and then when we're done, you clean off, you shovel off those, anything off the walk, and then you wash down the whole machine so that there's nothing left, but it's just part of work, it makes money. It's, it's money, Eula. You get used to it when you lived out there forever.
Okay, so you said the food craft would be approximately like 40,000?
No,
No.
462 to 375.
Oh, here's the two things. Okay, and then for the studies, what will that cost us?
That was our rate study. I'm not doing the rate study.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Oh, you're doing the rate study.
No, the board okay.
Okay.
Voted for somebody to do the rate study for us.
Did you guys get a price what it's gonna cost?
It was $26,000.
Oh. Okay.
Which means the rate of them, just according to that.
California says we have to do a rate study before we can raise them. And
Yeah,
that's 375,000.
Correct.
Right.
For the equipment,
That's the low.
they're not done yet.
Right.
Yeah, that's just to get quick. Yes, that's not for the labor.
Right.
Right.
I thought that's up there.
Right.
And I know, is there a possibility for when we go to vote on this, if we could get some of the pros and cons of each, each equipment that we're gonna be voting on?
Yeah.
And then for the installation and demolition bids, the pros and cons of, just a few, not like 100 for. Yes.
Well, we won't know the bids until we go out to bid.
No,
So
no, no,
we're gonna
I
have
didn't
to-
say about the bids, no, I said the pros and cons, if he could also add when he brings it to us, if we get pros and cons of the two of them things.
yeah, I'll put together a summary of the sandy chicken, but what packets, run through both options. They're the same technology, it's just two different manufacturers.
Oh, good.
But still, what they come on, what they don't.
Thank you so much.
Oh. Thank you,
Okay. Next on the agenda is number 13, the GM report.
So tomorrow night, if you haven't had enough of us, please come back for the Sierra Alliance meeting. So the Sierra Alliance meeting will be held tomorrow night at 5:30. There's a letter attached in here from the Fort Sage Family Resource Center that we received in the office, looking for donations. Question that I brought up last board meeting about November, but both November and December board meetings fall during the holidays. So if we could possibly look at maybe the week before, I was looking at moving November, December's board meeting up or canceling one of them. It falls on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and the other one is right dead on Christmas. So maybe looking at November 19th and September 17th, instead of do the third week of the month instead of the fourth week of the month, so that we aren't having meetings during holiday. I would like to schedule a budget workshop. We've never done a budget workshop. I've always just put the budget together. Pat and I reviewed it and given it to you guys to approve. It would, with all the questions, I just felt like it would be a good idea to schedule like a 2-hour budget workshop. October, because I've got to state new reports that have to be out by the 16th. I probably would prefer not to do it on October 9th, but I was looking at the 17th or 30th. Originally, I was looking at 1 to 3 or 2 to 4, and then I remembered you were working. So,
Well, just like
Um,
for tomorrow, the next day I'll take some time off.
okay. So if the 17th or the 30th, I kind of put an email out to you guys looking at a budget workshop. Just so that we can go through the numbers and ask questions, so that way when it comes to the board for approval, you guys have an idea where the numbers are coming from. I just didn't know what everybody's availabilities, vacation time, doctor's appointments, etc. If the 17th or the 30th of October would work for any of you guys, you as directors, so that we could go through that. The rate study, we're supposed to do a conference call. I was just talking to Owen about that. We haven't, we could possibly do a Zoom with 2 board members. Can't do 3 because it'd be a meeting, but if 2 board members wanted to join the conversation with Owen and I, with the guys that are doing the rate study before it comes to you guys as a draft next month. I need somebody's availabilities on that. In August was Royce's 7th year anniversary. And September 15th was my 19th year anniversary.
Congratulations.
The next board meeting is the 22nd, and a board member had contacted the attorney talking about who can and cannot request special board meetings. So if you pass that around, that is directly from the attorney, so you all know how to request for a special board meeting. The board president or the majority of the board can call for a special meeting to take place at a later time. During any regular board meeting, but it goes on and has the government codes and everything. So that is his note back to the board and myself. So you can take that home with you for your homework. That's all I've got. Director Eula Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Lindy. So. We have, the next one, we do that, the director's updates. We have each of them updates that you can share with everybody.
Okay, so, I did not find my notes about the different things that, I had asked for last time, so this is the only time I have really to speak, in regards to adding certain things to the agenda.
I emailed you 2 weeks ago and asked you guys if you had any additions or deletions. I did last week again, asking for additions or deletions to the agenda, and got no response by any board member.
Okay. One of the ones that we had asked for in our meetings before is in regards to having a meeting with the attorney. And having it being a public meeting to discuss issues with the attorney.
So again, I need an agenda for that meeting so we can set it. You can't just have, you can't agendize 3 things and talk about 10 because it's against the Brown Act. So if you can put together agenda items so that we can put a special meeting together and let the attorney know what you guys want to talk about and the public know what you want to talk about. And we need to hold it to those items that you agendize because you can't go off your agenda.
Okay.
There's, you will be right. So, having said all that, at this particular time, our meeting is adjourned at 6:46. Yeah. You don't take that far.
6:46.
Yeah. Thank everyone for showing up.
Yeah, thank you.
Good meeting, good questions. Thank you, Erin.
I have
I mean,
a
Eric,
quick question.
awesome.
Yes, sir.
You gentlemen.
So you guys